Today, we're going to be removing the third row seats from the 4Runner. I'll show you how to sound deaden the floor pan, how to build the platform, how to do the upholstery work, and how to do the final installation with some tips you don't want to miss. Stick around. Today, we're going to start a new project on the 5th Gen 4Runner. This is a 3-row or third row 4Runner, so I do have 7 seats. I'm going to be removing not only the back seats, but one of the second row. Now, this video is not going to focus on how to remove the seats. There are actually plenty of good videos on how to do that. I'm going to focus primarily on the building of the platform, why I'm doing what I'm doing. I will also share the measurements, so if something that you want to replicate, you'll be able to. Now, there's 3 reasons why the seats are coming out. I am a handyman by trade, and I'm constantly loading tools in and out of the vehicle. Now, with the third row, you'll lose about 5 inches of height. By removing the seats, I should gain a good amount of cargo space, which is very much needed. Secondly, my dog Shadow does travel with me, and now that he's almost 10 years old, it's getting a little bit more difficult for him to jump up. So by taking the height down a bit, I think it's going to make it a lot easier for him to get in. The third reason, which is more so of a benefit, not really a reason, is I should have a good amount of weight savings. I am taking 3 seats out, and yes, I am adding weight in by building the platform. However, I am going to weigh everything that I take out versus everything that I install, and I'm going to let you know at the end of the video exactly how much weight savings we had. So stick around. I'm going to get the seats out, and then we're going to focus on the building of the platform. And good news, I found a $50. I vacuumed everything out here. I still need to spray everything down and wipe it. You wouldn't believe the amount of things, grime, dirt, hair, everything that you find underneath the seats. Okay, so on the seat belts here, on the third row, we have the seat belts on each side that come down. I'm going to unbolt them here, and if you take a trim tool right here, I took it out before, so it's easier to get out. That'll pop out, and then in there, you can unbolt the whole seat belt if you want, but what I'm going to do is unbolt it from here. I'm going to roll it up, and I'm going to store it in there. This way it's just an easy reattachment if I need to do that in the future. And same thing with this one, just a couple bolts down here. We'll pop that off right here, and then we'll just roll it and store it in there for now. So there's a wire, I don't know if you noticed earlier in the video, that runs across over here. I think these are for probably the tail lights, and they are clipped in right here. That was coming straight across the back, so I'll give you a little bit better look. And that's going to be in the way of the platform. So what I'm going to do is take these plastic clips off, and I'm going to protect this wire, but I'm going to lay it closer in here instead of being raised. This way, when the platform's sitting down, they're not going to be compromised. That's the tool I use to get little trim pieces out. They make different widths depending on the size of the clip, but this one worked fine for here. And now I'm just going to take a knife. See, these plastic clips are taped, so you have to be really careful you don't cut into the wire here. But I'm just going to cut straight across. And then here. Take your time with this. Don't cut into your wires. So now we should be able to peel that tape. See how they're in there? The tape is just holding them on. So if we peel that, we can remove these clips. With the interior out, we're going to focus on sound deadening. You will absolutely notice more road noise with the interior gone. So the sound deadening will be extremely helpful, as well as when you remove these bolts, you can look through the holes and see through to the ground, which means you're now opening your interior to the possibility of water or the elements getting in. So the sound deadening material will be very beneficial to keeping the elements out. There are other ways to tackle that, but this is definitely one of them. And if you're going to do this project, I would recommend doing some kind of insulation or sound deadening, as well as weatherproofing these holes. I also put an additional wire loom over the harness that was running across over here with the white clips. I wanted to point out one other trick when you're doing your sound deadening. So you're going to have to drill holes in your platform, and a way to locate and have access to the holes is to actually put a bolt back in, and then you can put your sound deadening material in the spot that you want it. And once you have it, you can just press down, and then you can see the outline of the bolt. So now I know I need to cut a hole here, and that'll give me access to the threads. Sound deadening is done. It took about 20 minutes or so. Not too bad. I got into the part of the wheel well too, and I went over the hump here, and you can see all my holes are punched out, because I'm going to be using some of these holes to mount. I'm actually going to be using 4 up front and 4 in the back to put bolts through for the platform. So we got in there, and then there's the wire harness that I did a loom around, an extra wire loom, and then I just tape it down. So when this platform is level from that little crossbar and beyond to this area here, this will actually sit underneath the platform. My next step was building the platform and measuring out where all the holes will be, because there will be a total of 8 mounting holes. I took all the measurements inside the 4Runner. I also cross-referenced them with some measurements that I found online to make sure that they were accurate. Once I felt I had the right measurements, I transcribed everything over to a cardboard template, which is what you see me doing here. I then test fitted the cardboard template in the 4Runner, and when I was satisfied with where the holes were, I took those measurements and then I now transcribed them over to a piece of plywood. I went with a 3/4 inch BCX plywood that I got at Home Depot. The measurement for the platform is 42 inches wide and 41 inches long from front to back. Just some of the markings. I put the arrows so I always know that this is facing forward. And I made kind of a grid here. This grid right here is a measurement from the left side. All measurements started on the left side, going to this grid, which leads up. And then that's going to be the first bolt hole towards the front over here. So if I take my left measurement from here to here, it should be the exact measurement from here to here. All these measurements I tested on the template, and then I measured them out on here, and then I rechecked everything for squareness. So technically, there is a little bit of play once I drill these holes out, and I should be able to just slide it slightly, not very much, but a little bit of play, and they should be dead on. Okay, so the platform is gonna lay on the back here, and then it's gonna be up over here where the seats were. I took a level and I put it from where the platform is going to lay from top to back, and there's a gap here. Now this gap ends up being just under 1 inch. Now with the sound deadening material and with what I'm going to show you, we're right around 3/4 of an inch. So I took, this is still using the same 4x8 plywood. I took this piece, I did some double-sided Velcro tape, so I just have to peel this off, but this is a hook and loop, and I'm going to lay it kind of right in here. And now when I take the level and I do it front to back, I take that gap up. I'm not going to need any other supports. We're already supported up here, supported here, supported here, and side to side. There's some variations in height, but it's very minimal and it's not going to need support. I also am, since the platform is going to lay up here, I'm going to put a support, which is going to be a piece of wood in the front of the platform. I'm going to drill the countersinks first. Do not drill the holes out. Drill the holes out after. I'm going to be using a 1-inch Spade Bit, and also it has a nice sharp point, so you can put that exactly in the center of your markings. So it's a nice countersink with the spade bit, and it provides you the hole already. So you have a kind of a pilot hole for your bolt. After the countersink, it's time to enlarge the holes for the bolts. Now the back 4 bolts will be M10s, which are quite large. So I want to get those holes drilled out to a 1/2 inch. The front holes will be M6s. Those are a little bit smaller, obviously. So those front holes I drilled out to 3/8. Now I found the best way to not get tear out when you're drilling into these countersunk holes is to use a step bit. And you can see I'm using the step bit right here. So on the back holes, as I mentioned, that step bit actually goes up to 1/2 inch. I do the 3/8 in the front 4 holes. Next step is to get the hardware installed for the 4 bolt holes in the front for the platform. These holes are not threaded, so we're going to need to do something with those. This is a Rivet Nut kit, and it comes as a complete package. I am using the M6 today, and that's actually the fitting that goes on the tip here, and I'll show you that in a second. And we're using the Rivet Nuts, which are M6. They accept an M6 bolt. Now that the M6 tip is on, you want to open the handles all the way out, keep them out, and you're going to insert your Rivet Nut. It actually will thread right on. It's important that these handles are out right now. This acts as like a rivet gun, except for it's using a nut. So when we press the handles together, it's going to expand the collar right here, and then it'll seal it into the hole that we have. These are our 4 holes, 1, 2, 3, 4. So each one will get a Rivet Nut. We have this one already on with the wings or the handles open. Just insert it, push down, and squeeze the handles together. Now, if you want to make it tighter, you'll open it up. You'll screw this in a little bit more, and then we can squeeze the handles again. And I feel like that's going to be enough, so we'll unscrew it. And that's it. That's in there very firmly. I'll get a close-up of it. This is the one we just installed right here. Before we install the carpet, we're going to do one more thing. This is the front part of the platform where we put the 4 bolts in, and it's supported on the cross member. However, the front part of the platform here is unsupported. With 3/4 inch plywood, it doesn't really have to be supported. It's probably about 8 inches or so on the overhang. However, since I'm loading it with heavier toolboxes and things like that, I am going to support it. So this will be the overhang here. And don't forget now, I took this seat out. So if this is the front of the vehicle, this is my 40% seat. This is my 60% seat, second row. So since this seat is gone, I'm going to be building another platform going forward. So I'm going to put a piece of wood, which is 2x4. I'm going to put it here, and it's going to be sticking out just a little bit so I can screw my other platform into here and then extend it forward. This one is 21 inches, and I've already marked exactly where it's going to go here. This other piece is 5.5 inches, also a 2x4, and that's going to sit flush here. I did it at 5.5 inches because on this side and on this side, the back of the seat has a trim panel, and I don't want to cover that trim panel. So this is laying a little bit flatter. It's going to sit up right underneath, and then it's going to support the front end of the platform. I'm using a drill bit with a built-in countersink. So we'll countersink these screws down so they don't stick above the upholstery. These are construction screws, 1 5/8 inch. A little closer look. So the overhang, so the front platform will be screwed into here and then built forward. And then you can see the countersunk screws, and then the 5.5 inch piece, which is flush, and then the countersunk. So I'd marked it here. You can see I put the platform in, I put a mark here, so I knew how to line this up. This is a 21 inch with an overhang. And then this one is a 5.5-inch flush marked on the sides. I just set up a tarp underneath because we're going to be doing the spray adhesive and I don't want to get it on my garage floor. So we're going to test fit once again here and try to get it in position where I want it. I'm going to be using my cardboard template to protect the upholstery because I'm going to be doing this in sections. So now that I have this lined up, I'm going to fold this over. I'm using a 3M. It's a super strength 77. They call it Super 77. But this is a contact adhesive. And I'm going to apply it to the platform and to the bottom. You want to give that a minute or two just to tack up. We don't want it wet. We want it tacky on both sides, and then we'll do the fold over, and we'll do it in sections moving forward. You don't have to use a roller. I happen to have one, and it'll certainly help lay it flat, but it's not necessary. You can use your hands. All right, we'll do the last section. But I just wanted to point this out. You have a lot of people who complain when I do fabric that if they order it, it comes with creases. I don't know if you can see the creases on there. Hold on a second. So you can see the creases. However, if you do it in a method like I just did, and you take it slowly and you push it forward with your hand or a roller, you'll see that there are no creases that are showing right now. Here, I'll give you a closer look. So you can see some of the lines from the roller, but as far as creases, they work themselves out if you just take your time and lay it nice and flat. All right, I'm going to focus on getting these corners all tucked away and stapled, and then we'll do the install. Upholstery is all done. I'm happy with the way it came out. Now I'm going to have to locate those bolt holes. I already did one here. I'm just finding them. Here's another one right here. I'm just gonna star them out, and that'll give enough relief for, these are the front bolts, which are the M6s with the washer. And then I'll just sit down there, and then I'll put the cap on. It's gonna be a little tighter with the fabric around the hole with the cap, because it's a 1-inch cap. I did test fit it and it fit fine. It actually fits super tight, which is good. But you can always trim the fabric around if you need to. They do make the piece that I removed, the trim piece for the 3rd row. You can get the 2nd row and adapt it if this little gap bothers you. That doesn't bother me at all. So it's pretty tight in there. You can see the profile here as well. But that's an option for you if you're looking for aesthetics as well. I mean, overall, I think it still looks beautiful. The caps came out nice. Also, if you're going to be doing a build like this, please keep in mind, when you watch me do the upholstery, I cut out the star, which worked out perfectly for the bolts. The bolts dropped in nicely. However, if you're going to put plugs in, the upholstery was taking up too much room for the plug to sit flush. So I ended up going back. I'll show you. Hold on. I ended up going back and cutting the upholstery out around the circle so the plug would fit. This area right here is where I'm going to build a platform going forward. That's the 40% seat I was referring to that I took out. 60% seat stays in. I'll take you around here. So coming in the passenger side, this is where the platform will bolt to, and then it'll come forward. The 60% seat, I wanted to show you this platform with the measurements. That seat, this seat goes forward and backwards. This is all the way back. So it's cut perfectly where you still have full functionality of this seat. Now, when you take the 40% seat out, you can use the 60% for 2 people if you need to. It's not ideal. I did seat 2 people in here, and I'm small, so I was able to actually sit here. I can use this seat belt strapped around and then buckled in here. This seat belt is not, that's not the original location. This was actually bolted to the seat that I removed. So I removed it from the seat bracket and I bolted it into the floor here. If you're gonna do this build, you do this at your own risk. This is the choices that I made for myself. This is what's gonna work best for me. However, if you are going to do this build, please take full responsibility for everything that you do. Here is the finished product with the platform all done. I'm going to give you a couple angles so you can see how much we lost. Before we were up 5 inches or so there, and then we gained probably 6.5 to 7 inches in the front part. I did leave these open. I might carpet in here, but I like the storage area. I don't want to lose that storage area for little things, gloves, garbage bags, things like that. And the other side as well. I didn't show it in the video, but I talked about it. I did build the front platform, and instead of that overhang piece of 21-inch 2x4 for support, it's still there and it's still supporting. However, I used a continuous hinge and I built that platform forward. I'll bring it up front, show you a closer look. Here's a look at the platform. So you can see I have a little storage underneath, which I don't want to lose, and I left a little storage in the front over here. However, that front seat has full capabilities to go back as far as it can go and to recline, so I didn't lose that. But that's the way it normally sits, and I have room up here for water bottles or some things like that. Here's a close-up of that hinge, then the back area. So let me show you this. So it kind of just sits up here, and I have a 2x4 connected to a scrap piece of a 3/4 inch ply for support, pocket screws to secure everything in, and then that's that 21-inch overhang piece I did that's secured to the back platform, and it provides support over here. These are ratchet straps that I have underneath for now, but I still have some other little areas that I can store things, and I know it doesn't look like it, but that's actually perfectly parallel with the back platform. Those seats are just on a little bit of a tilt back. I'm going to paint this black. I don't like the way that looks now that I'm seeing it. Thanks for sticking around to the end, guys. Don't forget I have the downloadable plans on my website right now. It'll be free for a limited time, so take advantage of that. And if you have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. I really appreciate your support. And don't forget, life begins where the pavement ends. I'll see you in the next one, guys.